also don't know, I almost got tensed because the speaker who spoke after me, or before me, so I was wondering which case I am having. But I'll try to behave well so that the judge does not have anything here this morning, and especially because of what has brought us here today, including the theme. If you look at the for socio entrepreneurship, and those who are Kenyans, I'm sure they know that we are Africa and Africa is our business. And therefore, this is before. I've put my phone here because I use my phone as the watch all the time. I was requested to deal with. And forgive me if I don't have a very formal speech. I honestly don't like having formal speeches. And I am a member of parliament. It is important to say what we are doing at our level, because I've seen every speaker, they have also enumerated their and it is important that I mention, education is one of the policies. I am sure I was invited to talk about policies. Education is one of the, in fact, education and health are associated in the level of the income. They go to schools or to classes that are, in our day schools, in the secondary education, we have a program called Kiharu Masomo Bora. And we do not require an ID for the parent to confirm. I am glad even actually this academic year, which is also the calendar year, we have over 2,000 students who have crossed borders to come and live with their aunties, to come and live with their uncles in Keharu. Come to school in Keharu, they are assimilated in that program automatically. And in that program, the learners actually eat in school, only paying that 1,000. The bag, but very difficult in implementation. They eat in school from Monday to Saturday, those who want to attend schools on Saturday. I hope even my accent can tell you where I come from. Our staple food is maize and beans. Every last Friday of the month, we serve them chapati for lunch, all our day schools, just to make education exciting. I am also excited to be here talking about entrepreneurship because I was in Kenyatta University in my undergrad. And therefore my mom came because my father left us some years back. So when my mother came, of course, with other women, late lunch, and they gave speeches. And being the person who was graduating, I was the last one to give. I told my mother that as they pray with my for me not to get a job. Because I thought if I needed to make impact to the community, to our country, I had to take a very long route in having a constant income. Because a constant income is predetermined. You are given a check that is already written. But when you venture into business, you are given a check that is open. You can write whichever amount. So I actually never looked for a job since I graduated. I decided there and then that down there to now what we are doing currently in various sectors, in telecom and others. So I hope I am having the right audience. Of those organizations to look for a job. We are actually here to learn, including myself, to learn on how to make more impact. And more impact is having an open check, not a check that. And in that, then, other people have taken us through the micro part of it in terms of how to do it. The mandate I was called is because of my level as MP, as a servant of the people, and also participating in registration. And I'll try to restrict myself there within the few minutes I'll be talking over here. One of the things that is important is that I warn you early enough, I may not be very agreeable to some of my colleagues who have spoken. Because in terms of entrepreneurship, I actually believe in the extreme. I am middle right, so to say. And I'm not middle left. What comes there is communal, community-based. Those are very good terms to talk about. But I look at what is it that actually brings impact to the communal. Look at a country like China. Before 1976, we all know Mao Zedong, Chairman Mao Zedong of Communist Party of China. He had a lot of socialism in it. Because you could go to the farm, till the land, but you're actually not the owner of the harvest. You're only the owner of the proportion of the harvest. leading. Dispensations of a human being leading is actually a dispensation of policy. So Mao Zedong of China, but the economic side of it is that Chinese people died out of famine, out of hunger. 1970, in terms of the definition, Mao Zedong appears to be more social. We don't strictly ground ourselves on the definition. We ground ourselves on the output. Because socialism, communism, almost against communism. 400 million Chinese lifted out of poverty, output. South Korea, 1962. Comes in, the per capita GDP of a South Korean then was less than GDP per capita. So GDP per capita, income per capita of a South Korean was lower than a Tanzanian. Now, helping and assisting public resources and policies directly assisting private enterprise. Hyundai was a small company for far-right entrepreneurs because they cut across. So very many bright minds around STEM actually went to the US. Some found themselves in Stanford University. They are big names now out of other companies, but even as they founded people, early on, Elon Musk joined them. He's South African, actually. Funding from venture capital, Wall Street, and that is the creation of all the tech behemoths. Is actually not South American by birth, but out of government policy. If you look at the highest capitalized company in the US now is Microsoft, over $3 trillion. The CEO is Indian. If you look at a company like Google, the CEO is another Indian, born out of India. Is the one that shapes policy. That even as we talk about entrepreneurship, and I want to take over from Janji, and I'm trying to meld between the almost far right to show how interconnected they are. I was listening to Jaji about Kakuma, your bedroom was the bank, was actually the banker of the bank, because you are keeping money there. Then you go back there. Do you know what you mentioned? You didn't mention a supermarket. You social entrepreneurship is more about being egalitarian. Then it shows there is a very important component that the where money is distributable across many people. And I'm saying so because promotion of social entrepreneurship is about devolving about quarterly reports. We are also talking about impact. But what is impact? Just try to think what impact is. Like in Kenya, we give 70 years and above some stipend every month. It is a social intervention. But what has the government said? They said money. So money is also very integral then. Then in my take, that's why I said, respectively I made. I keep saying, I was in another place I was saying, in the economic class we say, it is not out of the benevolence of the baker that we enjoy. And I go and buy. And I think when an economy is organized in such a manner where the real humanity is at play, and the real humanity is self-centeredness, and another name of self-centeredness is selfishness, where as I pursue my interest, inadvertently, I actually then hand over. For example, in the streets of Nairobi, if the government took up the roles of transporting us to our jobs in the to come pick you and take you home, it will be chaos. But capitalism comes, organizes the selfishness of a person who wants to make money out. There is one thing that bothers me as a leader, and we are here to look for solutions. I usually say when I'm speaking, economy performs. Look at this. You have private sector-led economy has happened in the US, in the UK, and in all the developed countries. Tell me one African country you'll go as an investor with 1 billion US dollars or even 100 million US dollars, and you don't get proposals that if you want to invest here, those who don't understand Kiswahili, I'm sure you get interpreters. We have an economy that wants to thrive. So we are operating below the radar all the time, below some ceiling. Comes in that you have to be politically correct now to make a breakthrough there. that for you to start an industry in this arena or in this way, then some person have to have some stake, some person taking you through the ropes. We have to start celebrating entrepreneurs. They don't exist for themselves. And I want to pose this question to all of us. Aliko Dangote, for the black Nigerian billionaires, because they have made billions out of Nigeria, and they are blacks. I'm still on government policy, actually. He starts with trading cement, trading sugar. Government policy is made, he becomes a manufacturer instead. In Africa, to help among many other economies, Nigerian economy, in many ways, job creation, forex, and the rest. How much money do you need to spend even if you are to live 200 years? Even if you allocate money that you'll be sleeping stress he would go through in coming up with a refinery. We may look at it selfishly and say he's making money, but for what money? He already has enough money to spend. What he's doing is to money. That's money you can spend for as long as you live. So every other thing you are doing past that, you are actually an agent of the country. And even in the presidential medals, because when you see a person employing 500 people, 200 people, they are not employed in his house to wash and to cook. They are employed as a cog, as a wheel of the economy going forward. So entrepreneurship as a factor of production with its right price. Lastly, we are in the budget making process in Kenya. Not before non-Kenyans. It's just because I'm here now I have to make these remarks briefly. It's not maybe even for the conference, but they are interrelated. We're in the budget making process. This is the most far-reaching fiscal policy period in any country, because a country rides on two policies: monetary policy and fiscal policy. Anything around finance bill and everything about budget is a fiscal policy of government. It's either about tax or about spending or about borrowing. All those are fiscal policies. Unfortunately, like scientists who are here, you go to a laboratory when you want to test something. You mix this and this, it gives you this color. So you experiment. In economics, you only experiment by doing. Or you experiment. Of economics is history. That's the only way. Now, we have different policies changing in Kenya every year. We now have the finance bill in the House. I am saying it objectively because Kenya is ours. If you look at the policies we have created for the last, let's say, 3 years, through the finance bill itself, you know, is a huge amount of money. Over 70 billion every year is a levy. Now, if you go to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, sector going up, we had a shrinking construction sector. Then we need to ask ourselves, even as we deliberate on the current one and say maybe there is no addition of this or that, is it that the government is spending money or the private sector spending money? So you ask yourself, who is more efficient? There's no two way. When you cut off 70 billion from pay, you are just saying as a government, I'm cutting this money to do the construction myself. Okay, because the government, once it's a policy, the money is cut. Construction is better left to the private sector of houses. Me, and I'm using empirical data from government, not from myself. It is because it is the first time for many years, out of, if you remove COVID years, that you are having construction sector shrinking other than increasing in terms of its size. The other thing I want to, it has become something I'm speaking about because it is very important. And I'm not saying so for anyone to reply. On the floor of the House. 4.2 thereabout trillion shillings. We have budgeted to borrow close to 900 billion shillings. So it's higher than the last year. So I'm asking Kenyans this question. We need to get out of the hole of borrowing and unsustainable debt. If you fall in a borehole or a ditch, an abandoned borehole which never produced any water, I'm just saying a ditch, and you need to get out of it, and your friend gives you anga or a hoe ya kuchimba, and he tells you the best way to get out of this place, you keep digging the hole. I want you want to get out of unsustainable borrowing. Every succeeding year, we must borrow less than the previous year. Now we are doing the reverse. We are borrowing more money this year than we borrowed last year in a debt trap. That is not the reality. That is an oxymoron. That is a contradiction of facts. You know the beauty about Kenya nowadays, everything is anywhere. You can just Google the things I'm saying because it's government documents I'm referring to. Lastly, I am concerned are the decisions that were made in the past years. The decisions we are making today will affect us today and the other securitization that is to be paid by Kenyans. And we also want to securitize something called the sports fund. I am a next 7 years. Instead of being patient for this money to be collected and we spent, since we want Kenyans to clap for us as leadership, So we want to spend that money now. This money, we will also have needs to repair roads for the next 7 years. We also want to securitize sports fund, to build stadiums now, get clubs today, and then Kenyans are overburdened for the next many years on that securitization. Anyone dealing with securitization in the government of Kenya must know that it has potential. Because, one, we are not declaring it anywhere. In the budget, it's not there. In Parliament, there is no committee of Parliament that has dealt with that money. The money is already borrowed from commercial banks. Let us be prudent. Let us walk the talk. When we say we are not overburdening the country with borrowing, let us actually walk the talk of borrowing less every year than we borrowed the previous year. And I want to edit there and say, economics. The beauty about the economy, you cannot substitute figures with words. With the time, it catches up with you. The same government has released the data I'm talking about. Ahead of us, Rwanda was ahead of us, Uganda was ahead of us. Well, Rwanda was growing at 7%, Kenya was growing at around 4.something%. These are far-reaching on the destiny of a nation. And whatever decision we make today, we must be cognizant that, however appealing we package it, very soon, a bad decision. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And Mheshimiwa.
Allow me to invite all the speakers for the past session since morning to come on stage. The rest of the speakers and then
Jonas will give the chief guest. Start from the far end. That is the representation here. You know what they like? Exactly. So I'd like to invite Brother Jonas and the rest of the speakers to just move forward. Just move forward so that we have when the photo is being taken on stage. All right. Thank you so much.